Well, good morning, friends. At least it's morning here. It's kind of later morning right now. I'm working on my second cup of coffee, and I just thought I would come on back down here to my favorite apple tree and have a little coffee with Crystal. It's been a crazy busy week and weekend for me. We had, I call it kind of the mini half family reunion. Every year during the summer we try to get together as a family. We've been doing that for several years. However, with 8 children, let me tell you, it's spread with 8 children spread out over 5 states, I should say. It's definitely a challenge to get everybody's schedule coordinated and everybody here at the same time. And this year, actually, the planning ended up being kind of last minute. It looked like people's schedules, jobs, whatever, it just wasn't working out. And then all of a sudden, I had one of my daughters from California was able to make it, and my son who lives up in northern Washington, he was able to come down, and so we were just like, hey, that works for us. Let's do a half reunion. So we ended up with, in total, 4. My daughter that lives with us, a son that lives down in Oregon who could make it, and then the other 2. So anyway, it was so much fun. I just loved it. I love any time my family can get together, but it was just a whole lot of fun for us to get together, and I'll probably share more about that later in a homemaker's journal. But today, everybody's gone, and I am, in that, okay, I need to get my life back together again and get, help get everything cleaned up and whatever, all the after things. But one of the things that I think there's so much excitement that leads up to something like that, for me at least, and then when it's all over, there's that sense of almost kind of a letdown feeling, and it's like, oh, everybody goes home, everybody's life goes back to normal, and it's just kind of, it's kind of sad. And it made me think a lot about motivation. In fact, I was talking to one of my daughters about that, and the one that was visiting, and she was, her and I were just, what are the things that bring us motivation? And when we were talking about it, she's single and she works full time and she has a very busy life, and so she's not necessarily the typical homemaker, although she does enjoy doing all those homemaking things. It's just not where her life completely is right now. But what gives us the motivation to do anything, whether it's, getting up and going to work, or taking care of the laundry, or, just what she likes to work out, so, going and doing her workouts and things. There just ends up being a feeling of being in a rut sometimes, and that is definitely very common, I think, among people, that among lots of people, that you can end up feeling, kind of just in a rut. And what gives you motivation? I'm going to share some of the things that, that I have found to help me motivate myself, but I would love to hear in the comments below, what do you do when you're in a rut? Where do you go? What's your source of getting some motivation, or as my husband calls it, the mojo to get up and take care of the things that need to be taken care of. My husband's in the background cutting down a tree that was not doing well, so it needed to come down. So I'm hoping the chainsaw isn't like overtaking the sound here. One of the things I think about one of the first things that comes to my mind when it comes to trying to get motivated to do any task or job, and you're just not feeling it, is to know your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? The bigger picture, not the task. I mean, we all know we do laundry because it's dirty, but what is it? What is your why? You want a clean home. You want to have a fulfilling life. You want order. You don't want to live in chaos. You just want to have a life that is running smoothly. And right now you're looking at a couple stacks of dirty laundry, and it's like, oh, laundry. But what is your why? Know your why. And then I think kind of like right along the same line with to know your why would be to have a vision. Sometimes we forget the vision, and we are focus so intently on the individual tasks that we forget the bigger vision. You know, like I just said with the why, is that a clean and orderly home? Is that a peaceful home? Is it a life without chaos? You know, what is your vision for your home? What is it that you're after, that you would like to see? What is it that you're after that gives you that something to strive for type of feeling? And a big one for me, I think, on motivation has been feeling overwhelmed. It is really hard sometimes when you look around and you have so much in so many areas that need to be accomplished, and you don't know where to start, and you don't know exactly, you know, what would be the best direction to, you know, the best thing to accomplish first. I've often called that like analysis paralysis. You know, you look at all these different things, you analyze them, well, where should I get going? I don't know where to start, and then you feel paralyzed. And I think that that is something that's, you know, really common. I have overcome that by actually physically writing out a list, so that anything that is making me feel overwhelmed at the moment, I write down on a list. And then I prioritize that list by the thing that is bothering me the most. I personally hate making phone calls. It's just something, you know, my husband will do it because he knows how much I don't like it, but there's times where I need to make the phone call. I need to make the appointment. I need to check on something. I need to do something more so in a business than a personal way. I don't like making phone calls. And so oftentimes what I've actually found is that knowing that I need to make that phone call will cause me to lose my motivation for everything else, because I begin to feel overwhelmed and stressed. I've got to make that call. I've got to make that call. And then I just start taking stabs at everything around me without actually getting anything accomplished. And when I write down, okay, what are the things here that I need to focus on? Number one is make that phone call. And I will often just stop right there, make the phone call, do what I'm supposed to do, and suddenly I have this huge weight lifted off me, and I am motivated to like tackle the rest of that list and get to those other things. Another thing that I find to be super valuable when I'm trying to get motivation is, you know, keeping a journal and writing down the things that I have accomplished, the things I want to accomplish, and writing down those goals, so that at least, again, it's kind of like knowing that why, having that vision, writing it all out on a piece of paper and saying, okay, this is where I'm going with all of this, so let me get moving. I find that to be very helpful. And I know I talk about this in a lot of my videos, but I really think that quiet time, whether you do it in the morning, the afternoon, at night, before you go to bed, it doesn't really matter. But I think that having that quiet time, my preference is the morning. That's when I like to read my Bible. That's when I like to spend time in prayer. That's when I have any devotional books or books for encouragement, books for motivation, you know, any kind of homemaking, Christian life type books that help me. I do all that in the mornings, because that is what my favorite thing to do with that first cup of coffee in the morning, is sit down and do those things. And you know, I find that if I devote my time in that direction first thing in the morning, I am now motivated to move on to other things in my day. They just seem to go hand in hand. And if I'm really struggling, of course, in my prayer time, I pray for that motivation. I pray for that direction. And I pray for that vision. Because sometimes vision isn't necessarily an overall picture. Maybe vision is the vision for that day. Sometimes I'll have a day where my list is extremely long, but I have to say to myself, okay, my vision for today is, by the time, you know, I'm ready for bed tonight, I would like to see this, and this accomplished. And then I know where I'm going, and I can just jump into it. Self-care. I think we oftentimes, as homemakers, especially as mothers, but even as homemakers, we are busy caring for the needs around us, whether they're husband, children, family, extended family members, friends, church, whatever it is. We're always busy and actively involved in nurturing other people, and we don't always take care of ourselves. We don't always invest that time into self-care. And I think that with good sleep, eating good quality foods, and taking care of ourselves, getting some exercise during the day, and just doing things that promote our own health and well-being will make us much more motivated to take care of the tasks that are at hand. This one that I'm going to share with you now is kind of like that famous one that I keep sharing. I've shared this in a lot of videos. I even made a short video on this. And it is the 5-minute rule. And it was one that my mother-in-law taught me years ago. That's our rooster. It was one that my mother-in-law taught me years ago that was really helpful. Probably I was having a conversation about getting motivated, and what she said to me was, well, you do realize that the first 5 minutes of any job is the hardest. And what she meant by that was that once you get past the 5-minute mark, you usually have forgotten about how unmotivated you were to do it. And now that you're into the project, you're doing it, and the motivation is there. Anyway, you guys, those are my thoughts and tips on motivation. Some of the things that give me motivation when I'm not feeling it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'd love to hear what you do, or what kind of things do you do for motivation, or think about for motivation to help you when you hit those difficult spots. All right, so I hope you found, I keep moving around because it seems like I got sunlight. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like when I'm editing it. But anyway, I hope you guys found this video to be inspiring and maybe motivating. And now I need to go take all my advice and get myself in gear and get my house taken care of today. And I think it has motivated me. I'm ready to get in there and tackle what needs to be done. I hope for you guys that the rest of your day is a wonderful day for you, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.